Bonjour, um, I decided to, I think while my other video was processing, I decided I was going to make another video because I didn't get to say all that I wanted to say about what I actually wanted to talk about. I ended up going off on all these other directions. I wanted to talk more in depth about spiritual abuse. I'll be honest with you, I had been spiritually abused by Catholics, by Protestant Christians. I haven't been spiritually abused by Muslims, thank God. Or Hindus, or Buddhists, which I think says something about them and other people, Christians. And like I said, I don't want to come off and say that Christianity is a bad religion and you shouldn't follow it, blah blah blah. That's not what I'm trying to say. Personally, I think Christians would do well to actually learn their religion, and actually learn what the Lord says about being kind to your neighbor, being loving your enemies. Blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are those who mourn. You know, they do well to go back to those central teachings and take from them the richness that's there, and not get into this legalism that so much of fundamentalist Christianity is all about, like the legalism that says, oh, we must go protest the gays and protest. I mean, I don't know, I just think like so much of it is so hateful. So much of it is so hateful. And I'll detail for you some more of my spiritual abuse experiences. Aside from being told that I was a child of Satan when I was a child, I also I ended up, when I was really anxious and nervous and like basically crawling up the walls with anxiety, I ended up turning back to some old foster parents of mine from back in the day, and I ended up going to them and saying, you know, look, I should have just said, look, I'm having all this problem with anxiety, but I've been on a fucked up road, is what I'll tell you. I'll tell you, I've been on a fucked up road. Christians have told me, you know, Jesus wouldn't approve of you because you're gay. When they have teachings in their own book that say things to the contrary. If you have ears to hear and eyes to go read, you know, he healed. I mean, and this is so ironic. He healed the centurion's servants, and centurion had a servant who was a servant above the other servants, kind of thing. Like, the way that he called him in the Greek was, he said that my pais is sick, my boy is sick. Like, why would you call your servant your boy unless you were, say, in a relationship with him or something, you know, like, or, I don't know. It strikes me as funny when Christian people can be so I don't even know how to say the word. But anyway, they're like Stalin with their religion. I'll put it that way. They're dictators. They're little dictators. Like, you must do this, and you can't be that. You know, like, you can't be who you are. And that's the kind of abuse that I had to put up with. I mean, when I was 13 and 14, coming out of the closet, realizing, hey, I'm not like the other boys. I hang out with girls. I don't play sports. I saw somebody in the locker room and they looked really yummy, and all that, like, I started realizing that I am not like the other people that I'm supposed to be like. When I started having that experience and expressing that and trying to find words for it, basically I just ended up saying, you know, look, I think I'm gay, and that was a big, huge no-no for the people that I was living with at the time. They were like, this is what our Bible says about you. You're not going to heaven if you continue to live this way, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you saw the eye roll, right? Oh, yeah. So that's the kind of shit that I had to put up with. And it's taken me a long time to become solid in my identity. Like, I've waffled back and forth between, you know, the Christian perspective and the perspective that I have now, which is I'm gonna live my life and serve Creator in the way that I'm being led, instead of, you know, following hook, line, and sinker this road they call their Jesus road that throws half the people away of the world, for being Buddhist, and for being Hindu, and for being Muslim, and for being Jewish, and for being indigenous, practicing indigenous spiritualities. Because they say, you know, our way is the only way, you know, because they say that Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the light, or the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. And they say that you have to believe in Jesus or else. And here's the kicker. Here's the thing. As an Indian person, I don't disbelieve in Jesus. Like, I don't go around saying, oh, the resurrection never happened, Jesus never existed. I don't say those things as an Indian person. I say, hey, look, well, maybe it did happen the way that you say it did. Maybe it did. I don't know. I wasn't there 2,000 years ago in the land of Israel. So there's no way for me to, like, verify, but I'm not saying that I don't believe. I'm just saying that you need to stop messing with everybody else and, like, saying that they need to believe the way that you do. You know? You need to stop baptizing us and then killing us. Like the Spanish did. Because that's what the Spanish did when they came over. They would go into, like, a village, they'd forcibly baptize everybody, and then they'd slaughter everybody. They're like, well, at least they're going to heaven. That's so bad. I should shut up. But, like, that was their thought process. They're like, you know, we don't like these people, so we're going to make sure that they go to a better place, but we don't want them here. And that's the kind of... I mean, look, people. I mean, you have witch burnings in your history. You have slaughtering of indigenous people in your church's history. You have all this just sinful, bad stuff. And you don't own a thing of it. You're just like, oh, that was then. I think white people have this convenient amnesia. They're like, oh, yeah, my ancestors came over on the boat and they took your land, blah, 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 but that was then. I didn't actually do any of that stuff, so why would you make me pay for it now? And, it's like, well, thanks for setting off 7 generations of suffering among my people. For one thing, that's kind of a thing that I have to say in response to that kind of mentality is, you know, as long as as long as Indian people are still suffering and still, you know, and the other thing, and it's usually white men who say this, they're like, your people lost the war, so deal with it, blah, you know, it's like, your people lost the big old penis contest, or something. It's like, just deal with it, your people lost the war. It's like, well, I wonder when that nuclear bomb goes off in America, finally, like the Hopi prophecy says they will. I wonder if they'll be saying that around here then. I wonder. Meanwhile, I have to figure out how the hell I'm gonna get away from the city, and where I'm gonna go to avoid getting sick from what's gonna happen. That's gonna end up happening soon. I honestly think, here's what I think. If we're not very, very careful, if we're not very, very diplomatic in what we say and we do in the world as people, as I hate this, hate to consider myself as this, but as a citizen of the United States, if we're not very careful with who we elect as leaders, and if we continue to elect people that are basically like anti-Islam or whatever, because I think for all of you know, Bush saying, oh, I'm not against Muslims, blah blah blah, it's like, really? Then why are you bombing them in Iraq? Why are we interfering over there? I don't even know, like, why the war in Iraq? Why the war in Afghanistan? And I think what's gonna end up happening is that Iran, lovely people, lovely Persian people. I know some Persian people, they're very, very good folks. They're gonna end up saying, hey, look, you wanna play the bad medicine game of, you know, coming over here and being where you don't belong and trying to boss us around and tell us what to do? We have a nice little gourd of ash for you, which is the Hopi way of saying a nuclear bomb. I think they might bomb us, and I think if we don't stop messing with North Korea, if we don't stop putting our nose where it doesn't belong, they're also going to possibly bomb us. It has to do with walking in the world in a way that respects people. You know, I mean, I look at like the war in Afghanistan and the war in Iraq, and I'm like, why are we even over there? I mean, it just mystifies me. It's like, what do they want? The oil? I don't know. It just, it boggles my mind. I mean, honestly, if they just wanted to take Saddam out, there are other ways they could have done it. And if they wanted to get rid of Osama bin Laden, like they supposedly did, I don't know if I believe that they actually got him or not. But personally, I think 9/11 was a false flag. Um, because there were explosives in the building prior to the plane crashing into it, and you gotta wonder who put those explosives there. Yeah, so I think 9/11 was a false flag, and Osama was the fall guy. You know what I mean? Um, I just think all this violence, all this yucky bleh between people of different religions and different cultures and all this yuckiness, and you're my enemy because you're a Christian, or you're my enemy because you're a Muslim, or you're my enemy because you're a Hindu. Um, that kind of thinking has to stop. It just has to stop. Or else we're gonna be in for a nice third world war. And it's not gonna be pretty. It's not gonna be pretty. I think there's still time for us to act in a diplomatic way towards the people that may hurt us. We have to step aside and say, hey, look, you're your own people, and you feel you need to make weapons of mass destruction to defend yourself. That is what it is. And I don't even want to go into the whole Israel-Palestine thing either. I mean, that has a lot to do with it, because, you know, I think the state of Israel is paranoid that Iran is going to develop nuclear weapons and bomb the heck out of them. Well, why'd you come back from all the nations of the world where you were scattered and then treat the people that were already there like crap? You know? I mean, I don't agree with the way that the government of Israel has acted towards the people that were already living in Israel when they founded the state in 1948. I don't agree with what Hitler did, but if you want to take what Hitler did and do it to somebody else just because that's what happened to you, I don't know. I think we need to rethink that one. And, because are you going to tell me that Gaza and the West Bank and all that other stuff, like all the other places where the Palestinians are living, you're going to tell me that's not a ghetto? You're going to tell me that's not a concentration camp? Yeah. And you can call me an anti-Semite all you want, but I'm just saying, look at the reality. You can say I'm anti-Jewish or anti-whatever all you want. I'm not. I'm not anti-Jewish. You have a very beautiful religion. You have a religion that says that we need to make tikkun olam and fix the world, and that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But you're not going to fix the world by treating your neighbor like crap. I'm sorry. That's just not the way it goes. And that's all I have to say about the Israel-Palestine thing. That's kind of how I think about it. Now, I don't agree with, you know, what the Palestinians are doing with bombs and blowing people up, and I don't agree with the terrorism. I don't agree with that either, because they need to hear the same thing. You don't make peace with your brother by blowing him up. That's not the way to do it. And all those ideologues that say Israel doesn't have the right to exist as a nation of people where it is, you know, I mean, you have to look at where your lineage comes from too. I mean, you look at all those people that were scattered among the nations, all the Jewish people that were scattered, they all trace their lineage back to Israel, you know? So they're coming home. And that, to me, coming to a sacred place is not wrong. You know, coming to Jerusalem and coming home, that's not wrong to me. But, you know, I mean, you have to look at your lineage too, all the people that are, you know, considered Palestinian or whatever. Where is your lineage from? Is it from Arabia? Really? Where is your lineage from? Are you Arab? Really? Because methinks that if you're Arab, don't your people come from Arabia? Didn't your people violently take over like half the world? Like Persia and everywhere else that used to have other religions about the light and the darkness, and I don't know. I'm going off on a little tangent, but it's like, really? Really? That's why I think religion, I'm gonna be very zen about it and say that most of the religions are just really, they are. Because, I mean, the original goal of religion is to make all men brothers, right? But you don't be good brothers or sisters by telling your brother, oh, you're doing that wrong. Do it this way instead. Because each person does their thing their own way. So I don't know. At least those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. But I'll be honest with you, I've had some pretty bad thoughts. You know, I've gotten pretty angry and come from a really bad place when it comes to religion. And I need to work on that. Yeah, so I have to work on some anger that I have towards, you know, monotheism. Because I have some anger towards the Christian people, I have some anger towards Muslim people for some of their unreasonable behavior. And it's not to say that I'm not saying that my Muslim brothers and sisters are all unreasonable. They're not. A lot of them are just defending what is rightfully theirs and what no one should try to take from them. But again, you know, I don't know, it's all about trying to be a good relative, and I just don't think you be a good relative by going to your relative and saying, oh, you're doing it all wrong. You can only honor Creator in this particular way, or that particular way, or, you know, I mean, I think Sylvia Browne described it best. Like, she's like, each person has their own way of honoring grandfather. Some of us might draw him pretty pictures, which they would call shirk. um, some of us make him pretty music. Some of us, and some of us are like, you shouldn't call God Father because blah. We're his slaves, not his children. And that's, you know, if you want to be a slave, if you want to be afraid of your own maker, that's up to you. Me personally, I would just like to go to my maker and say thank you for everything. And that's the kind of relationship that I want to have with my maker, is just thank you for giving me the possibility of life. Yeah, so I guess, I don't know, rambly rant. But yeah, I don't know. Also, I didn't talk about it earlier, but when I getting back to my original story, I was telling about going back to my old foster parents. I went to them and I said, you know, I'm really nervous. I have this schizoaffective disorder, and maybe it's like demon possession or something. And so they gave me the whole, you know, Pentecostal treatment for my illness, which was they had a whole bunch of people pray over me. And I still think a lot of times when they pray, like when they P-R-A-Y, they actually P-R-E-Y. But anyway, that's funny. Yeah, they shouldn't prey on people like that the way they do. But yeah, we went back to my house, and I said, you know, I have all this stuff that's making me really kind of nervous. I told them, I don't know why. I told them I'd been dabbling in like witchcraft and stuff like that, and I really hadn't. Like, I've never tried to force my will on the universe, as far as I can tell. Like by doing magic or whatever. I don't even, like, when people do spells and stuff like that, like light candles and ask for something, and that to me is just, oh, you're lighting candles and you're asking Creator for something. That's nice. I do that as a Catholic, you know. And if you want to get down to it and start talking about how the Catholics ripped everything off from paganism, that's a whole nother topic. Let's see. What else did I want? But anyway, I wanted to tell, they took, it's so sad. I never should have let them in my house. I should have gotten mentally well, taken care of my anxiety, and I should have come back to my house, and I should have just been like, oh, okay, you know. But I ended up mentally not well and really anxious, and I attributed my anxiety to the fact that I had all this stuff in my apartment that was making me uncomfortable. And and so they took a lot of my stuff. I had this altar that I had made. I'm a big fan of making altars. I have an altar in my room right now, which I took pictures of, but I haven't like uploaded them. Yeah, and it has Jesus stuff on it, and it's a mixture. It's a mishmash altar. I have my sweet grass next to, and people are probably gonna kill me, but I have my sweet grass next to an image of the Virgin Mary, and I have my bowl my smudging bowl on my altar. It's got rocks in it right now because I was... they're gonna kill me again. Oh no. I had used it to hold some incense for a little while. And I also heard that, like, you put rocks or sand in there so that the sage or whatever you're smudging with doesn't burn the shell. So that's why I have the rocks in there. And also I brought rocks just because I wanted to have something from the earth on my altar. And I have... Ooh, ow, ow, ow. I have a picture of my family on my altar. I have... It's kind of Mexican in a way. It's very Mexican. I don't know why. It just is. I have a picture of my family on my altar. I have doggies on my altar, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I have little ceramic doggies representing the guardians of the four directions. And I found them. They were in the perfect colors of the four directions, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna get these little doggies and I'm gonna use them on my altar. And I have 4 candles for the four directions on my altar. In appropriate colors. I have white for it's kind of Wiccan more than native, but I have white for air in the east. I have red for fire in the south. I have blue for water in the west, and I have green for the earth in the north. And my altar is actually oriented in the right directions, in a sense. It's actually in the north part of my room. And I have, it's I don't know, I'll just fudge it and say that it's a Unitarian altar. Damn it, it's a Unitarian altar. That's why I have so many different things, like so many different faiths. So I have pictures of Jesus and Mary on my altar. I have this really... And the reason why is because my Catholic friends gave me like all these gifts, and I'm so hesitant to just throw them away, because I'm like, really? I remember when Christians came to my house and threw all my stuff away originally, and I don't want to make my friends feel bad by throwing away all their gifts. So, but yeah. Yeah. So, another long rambly video. Yeah, so... And then I have lots and lots and lots and lots of candles on my altar. Like, my altar, if I lit all the candles all at once, would probably be considered a fire hazard. So I don't light all the candles at once. I just, depending on what I'm praying for. If I'm praying for family, I have a candle by the picture of my family. I actually sometimes pray at my desk, so I moved my air candle from my altar to my desk. And it smells like, it's so good. It smells, it's like fresh linen or something. Laundry on the clothesline smell. Yeah, so I use scented candles, and I have tarot cards. I'm very naughty. I'm a very naughty Indian. I'm very naughty. Let's just say, let's put it this way. I am, let's see, I'm appropriating all this stuff from the New Age people. I mean, if they're gonna misappropriate our stuff, why shouldn't we do the same to them and appropriate their stuff? So anyway, I'll close with that. Yeah. Oh yeah. I never did tell like what all happened. With the last episode of spiritual abuse that I experienced. Anyway, I went back to my house in this really screwed up state of mind. I was anxious, I was nervous, I was like, all this stuff in my house was making me nervous. Please get rid of it for me. And I never should have done that. They desecrated an altar. The fucked up thing, and this is what I'm mad at them for. They could take all my books and all the other stuff. That's not a big deal. Books, things like that, things of that nature are all replaceable, and I've started to replace them. But the thing that they never should have took, that they took a graduation feather that I was given. I don't know, I don't think it was a real eagle feather or anything like that. I don't think. I don't know. How do you tell if a feather is an eagle feather or not? But, it was painted. And they took this feather from me, thinking that, oh, he's gonna use it for witchcraft. And it's just like, ugh! I wanna shake them and say, you stupid, stupid people. You don't understand, you don't get it, you don't know. You took something that you really shouldn't have taken, that had nothing to do with what you were there to clean up. They took dream catchers. They took, they took a medicine bowl, an abalone shell. And I don't know what the heck they did with all that stuff, but I was gonna give it away. I was just gonna be like, you know what? Put it all down on the giveaway table, and somebody else that can use it can just have it. Whatever. And they're like, no, we can't allow that to happen because it might spiritually mislead somebody else. And you know, so they had this big to-do, and they took all my books, and they were gonna burn them. Typical Christian behavior, burning all the wisdom. That's what they came here and did to the Mexica people. That's what they did to the so-called Aztecs. They came and they burned all their codices and killed all their teachers, and it's just like, what is with these mentally ill people? These mentally ill Christian people. I love, don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna like say I don't believe in Jesus, but what is wrong with you that you have to like calm and destroy everything that isn't in agreement with what you believe? I don't know. I don't get it. Someone want to clue me in, because I really don't get it. But anyway, I'll close. Vacuous. Namaste.